Thank you for joining me in my living room again. We're headed into our third week of quarantine, self-isolation, and what I'm hearing from a lot of you is that you are starting to feel it. You're starting to get a little depressed, a little anxious. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about ways that we can help combat that. So the thing of it is that this is a new virus, and so we heard little bit, sounded frightening, but it was so far away and it probably wouldn't reach us. And then we heard about Italy, and that was a frightening, sobering wake up. So today we're going to talk about that. How do we combat that? What do we do? You want to make sure that you're looking after yourself mentally, physically. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with as much goodness as you can, because the reality of life is, and we were in a position before that it felt like we had some control over what was going on in our lives. And the reality of it is that we only have today. We don't know what tomorrow looks like. And this has really brought it home. And so you have two choices. You have the choice that you can become really worried, or you can come to the choice that this simply is the reality, and what am I going to do? So let's talk about self-care. And I said self-care, looking after yourself physically. And that's not even getting exercise. That, in this case, it means actually looking after yourself. So when this first started, I was really excited. I was going to miss seeing everybody's faces, but I got to work from home in my pajamas, and I would post these pics of me in my pajamas working, and it felt really fun and like a little vacation. And then as the week wore on, it felt a little less vacation-y and a little more slovenly, and I still got my work done. I'm not the only one in this, that when you get ready and you go to work and you fix your hair and you shave and you put on nice clothes and you leave the house and you feel like your shoulders are back a little bit and you're presenting your best face to the world, but you're also presenting your best face to yourself. And so it's this really slippery slope where today I'm just going to wear my comfies because I'm at home, and I'm working from home, and who's going to see me? And then the next day, maybe I'll shower tomorrow. Who's going to see me? What does it matter? And then a little while after that, it becomes, so what if I forget to eat all day? It's not a big deal. I'll grab something. I'll grab a bag of chips or something. Really, it's just these little tiny decisions that lead to the big decisions. It's just little tiny steps. These little tiny steps that lead into the big steps, so that by the end of it, you're not feeling so hot because you haven't been taking care of yourself. So go have a shower. Go have a shower, wash your hair, shave. All these little things that seem like a foolish thing to be saying to you are all really important things. Put on something. Put on something that makes you feel happy. Maybe you have a favorite shirt. Maybe there's a favorite outfit, or there's something that you love but you'd be too embarrassed to leave the house in. Put that on. Put on your happy pants. Make yourself wear something that makes you feel happy. Make a point of getting out of the house, getting out for a walk, even if it's just around the block or to the end of the driveway. Your first instinct is to say, I'll do that later, or I don't feel like it, but do it anyways. That's reach out to friends. You can do FaceTime. You can talk on the phone, because you can't do actual person-to-person interactions. Doesn't mean that you should lose track of people. Make sure you're eating well. So, are you eating a bag of chips for dinner? Because it's just you. It's pretty easy to slide into that. But take advantage. Have a bit of a little adventure. Look on this. Change the way you're looking at this self-isolation. And look at it as, instead of self-isolation, it's a self-retreat. Splurge and get takeout. And so right now, because restaurants are kind of hurting, a lot of them are offering delivery, free delivery. Or I know here in Tweed, our local cab will deliver things to you. So why don't you look on this as an opportunity to try a new restaurant, and then you can feel good about yourself because you're helping to keep a small business in business. Think about making a big batch of something that you've always wanted to try cooking, and then you can share it with your neighbors. So again, when we help others, we feel really good about ourselves. It's a really uplifting thing to do. Help other people. Make that big batch of lasagna, because you really feel like having lasagna and you haven't made it because there's no point in making something for one person, share it. Share what you have. Play Nicky Nicky Nine Doors with your neighbors and leave food on their doorsteps and then call them and let them know. The other thing is why don't you take this as an opportunity? Maybe there's something you've always wanted to try. If you're watching this, that means you have internet, which means you have the world at your fingertips. So maybe you've always wanted to learn how to do watercolor painting. Well, this is an amazing opportunity in your little retreat. In your retreat, you can learn new skills. You can learn, if you look at this as a bleak and negative thing, that's what it'll be. But if you look on this as a sunny opportunity, your mental health is going to be all the better for it. When I was pregnant with my youngest child, I found out that I had placenta previa, which meant that if I gave birth to her anywhere other than in the hospital, both of us could die. So I had to spend the last month of my pregnancy in the hospital. And at that point, I had a 7-year-old and twin 4-year-olds, and I had never been away from them. So it was devastating. And I took a little while and I was beside myself with the idea of not being there. And then my husband had to take an unpaid leave of absence for a month. So that meant we had to rely off of our savings. So money was really tight, which meant that my family was only able to visit me once a week. So what was I going to do? And again, I like to see the bright side. So I got to my hospital room, my tiny, tiny white sterile hospital room with the cinder block walls and the medical furniture all around. And I made a choice. I chose to look at this as an opportunity. So I looked at that and I said, okay, this room is really not much smaller than my dorm room when I was at university. And at university, I had a fantastic time. I loved my dorm room. I loved everything about university. So I'm going to look on it like this. This is just like my university days, only I'm much, much older. And so then what I did is to combat the sterile environment, I made it my own. Brought in pictures of the kids, set them up along the ledge. I brought a Afghan from home, threw it over the chair so that it no longer looked like a sterile hospital room. It looked like a hotel room, which is what I was looking for. And then over I decided to bring in crafts. So I had a craft table set up in my room, and the nurses had a giggle when they would come in, but it kept me sane. It kept me happy. The other thing is, again, because we had really limited resources, I wasn't able to get a hospital TV. So we brought in the Dora the Explorer portable DVD player, and I watched movies. So I reached out to my friends and I said to them, could you please share your box sets with me? So I watched lots of movies, lots of television shows that I normally wouldn't have watched, but I'm really glad for. I read lots of books. And so I looked on it as an opportunity. I cozied in to my little space and I would read. I made sure I got dressed every single day in my clothes. I did my hair because that reflected how my day was going to be. And I urge you to do that in this. Choose to live the way you would like to live. And if you make that choice, if you make that decision to be positive, it's going to change the outcome of your mindset and your mental health. So that's all I've got for you today. Stay safe,